Good evening, everyone. We are from Group 2. And first, before we start, we would like to introduce ourselves, starting from Viola.
Okay, my name is Anastasia Viola Valerie. You can call me Viola.
I am Darren.
And I'm Victoria Mahasin.
And my name is Gabriela Kristen Damrin. And today, we would like to present our research on the effects of digital media exposure on infrastructure acceptance. Next slide. So this is our background that consists of the following keywords and points that are the foundation of this research. Our first point being that infrastructure and a community's economic welfare are closely related. And second, in how this era of globalization, digital media, specifically social media, has a large influence in disseminating information rapidly. And this leads to how public perception regarding practically anything is not only formed by objective facts, but is also affected by digital narratives spread on social media. And next is how there is a significant gap in access to digital information between rural and urban communities, leading to a difference in how each respective community understands infrastructural development and its impacts. And our urgency in doing this research is due to how a deeper understanding is needed regarding how digital communication shapes public acceptance of infrastructure projects, along with its relationship to policy awareness and information equity between regions. Next slide. Okay, next are some relevant points that we found from related studies during our research. Our first point being how, according to a research by Plantin and Potan digital media now functions as a new infrastructure able to shape public perception, participation, and communication. This is in line with the focus of the study, which examines the role of digital media in shaping public perception towards infrastructure. Next is a point in Ramadan's research where it is brought up how the public's perception and acceptance towards infrastructure and its impacts is formed through the public's perception towards digital exposure. And both of these studies show how the successful implementation of infrastructure is determined not only through its physical development, but also by how information regarding infrastructure projects is conveyed to the public. Next slide.
So moving on to literature review, the main topics that we will be discussing here is digital media, the effect of said digital media environment, and lastly, what is the role of local government has regarding this digital media ecosystem. The first topic that we'll be reviewing is digital media infrastructure. We would like to know how the influence of digital media on public perception, the relationship between infrastructure and economic welfare, also access and communication gap between regions. Next slide. The next topic that we would like to discuss is digital media ecosystem with the subtopic of digital media central role in information circulation and how it is agenda setting, and chamber effect. Lastly, we will also like to know the risk of disinformation and regarding public choices. Next slide. The next main topic that we would like to discuss is public perception and society behavior, with the subtopic of public perception shaped by media exposure and social values, how that is in effect of agenda setting and framing theories in digital media, and also information access gap between urban and rural communities. Next slide. The next main topic that we would like to discuss is the sociology and digital anthropology. We would like to know how the digital access disparity between urban and rural areas, what is the role of social media in social and cultural exchange, and how can social media be used as a tool for modernizing society. Next slide. The last main topics that we would like to find out is the role of government as an indicator of infrastructure acceptance. Within this topic, we'll like to know what is the strategic role of government in infrastructure acceptance, how is a two-way participation and communication within the community has any effect, and whether the infrastructure success indicators is included within social and economic success.
So there are three research methods. First is interview, then focus group discussion, and lastly is observation. For interview, we would like to find out the perspective and understanding of the public regarding the infrastructure. And for focus group discussion, we see their awareness from the rurals regarding the issues that we brought up. And lastly, for observation, we see the activities of official government social medias and the engagement of likes, comments, and shares with the public.
So right now I'm going to present the result. There are three main points that we found. The first one is the limitation and inconsistencies that we find in the government digital communication, which they usually just post mainly about their government, not as the what kind of infrastructure that was built, and there's no transparency in that. And the second is the public skepticism, also the lack of relevance, because there are no relevance about the postings. People feel skepticism because they doesn't believe what the government posts. uh we found that the digital media acts as a double-edged sword. It serves both as a tool for building public support or a platform for criticism. We found that government have many social media account in various platform, where you can find our next slide, please. In a slide, we can know how it does affect the public perception. Like, we identify that people like the visual content, such as a construction updates or before and after videos that makes complex project easier to understand and accept. However, when the content is overly polished or biased, it often generates criticism or skepticism, like especially when it's linked to sensitive issues like forced eviction or corruption. Please go to the next slide. In the observation, we found that government have various social media account in various platforms like Instagram, X, Facebook, or TikTok or YouTube, and it's quite popular in our people, like in public usually use these five social media platforms. So the government should have more transparency to people, but what we found is exactly the opposite. Next slide, please. Like, from the negative narrative, we found that there are some kind of negative narratives that government usually use that attracts skepticism from publics, like it's promote the government itself, the executives itself, that uh mainly focus on the government executive rather than what the infrastructure that they're built, what is the influence to the people if we build this kind of infrastructure. But maybe we can switch to the positive narratives, where it should be have a visual content, that videos or infographics that will inform the people how does this infrastructure will help them, or how it will influence their daily life, and how can the publics can participate in the building or the infrastructure development. And next slide is, so we found that the public perception and acceptance is different from our hypothesis, which we thought that the rural area will very avoid about the infrastructure development because they are not exposed to the social media, which make them not very friendly about the development. But what we found is they does not fully avoid it, but actually they feel it's not relevant to them, so they kind of just doesn't like if this doesn't affect their daily life, so they doesn't find any relevance in the social media or the information in the about the infrastructure development. And next slide, please. The urban communities does have a high acceptance, but it doesn't fully affected by the exposure, especially in the rural area, which have another factor like the relevancies or the government activities that will include people in the developments. So in conclusion, we found that social media still has a strong influence, but it's not absolute. However, the social media influence is highly dependent on the quality of the narrative, which is like that. If it has a positive content that doesn't centered in the government executive, people find it more relevant to them. And the public perception is also greatly influenced by the direct experience, which is the relevancies. Yes, That's all from us. And this is the reference we can refer from to our research. Thank you.